Hi everyone, it's Neve here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be doing a lace cut page using secrets as the theme. So you can see I've drawn in my craft journal this large heart and the letters from this quote, which says everyone has a secret that would be heartbreaking if it was shared. That would break your heart. And it's a quote that speaks very much to me. And it, I suppose, has been in my head a lot because I've been working with a group of disengaged, vulnerable students in my work who, lots of stuff that they talk about and stuff would break your heart. So it's something that's sort of been sitting in the back of my mind for a while. I've also followed for a long time a website called Post Secret, which I'll leave the link to below. And the whole premise of it is people send in secrets, anonymous secrets, on a postcard, and they get published. And even though this, each person who sends in the secret feels that, that's their secret, the number of times I've read them and thought, oh, that's me, or that applies to me. So it makes you feel not alone. But, you've got that protection of it's anonymous. So that's what was going through my head when I did this page. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this page in my craft journal is that the craft paper in this journal is quite thick, and it's brilliant for lace cutting. So the fact that it's thick and strong means that it supports doing really fine cuts and really close cuts, so you're not going to have as much ripping. Now you notice before I even started this process, I changed the blade on my knife, and I changed the blade throughout the cut as well. I've also got the red mat that you see behind is just a really thin plastic kitchen board that I bought from IKEA. I think I cut it in half because it was slightly bigger, so it will fit into my book. Now you can use, commercial craft cutting boards. The reason I use this one is because it's thin and it will actually go up quite close to the edge of my page, which, as you can see with this design in particular, because I'm cutting quite close up to the middle, I want to get that cutting board in as close as possible. When I'm cutting, you'll see I'm trying not to turn my wrist too much, so I make sure that the cuts that I'm doing are short and sharp, that I'm protecting my wrist as well as I cut. Sometimes that will involve turning my book around. For these sort of letters, I try and keep the lines as straight as possible, and you can see I'm sort of doing the shortest, easiest cuts that I can possibly do as I'm going along. So once I've finished cutting out the letters, then I'm cutting off the excess. The reason I didn't cut the excess off first was I wanted as much protection for my page as possible when I was cutting those letters, and then I could make it slightly more vulnerable by cutting out the heights. So now I've got my height cut out with this everyone has a secret. So that will be a focus on my page. I'm going to paint my lace cut black, and I quite often do this with my lace cut pages because I get the most contrast when I put a colour behind it. And I had an idea of what I wanted to do for this. So as I was painting it black, the idea that sort of came into my head was I wanted to actually have red underneath it. So I had the red height underneath, the black over the top, overlaying it. And because it's talking about secrets, I wanted to make sure that I journaled underneath it as well. So you can see already just by painting that black, you've got a huge contrast on your page. With the heights that I've got there, sorry, trying to think of what I was trying to say. I'm going to use the height that I've drawn out as the model to paint my background as well. So it's going to be the same shape and size. So you'll notice I haven't drawn that out first. I was going to do that afterwards. Because it is flippable, I want to make sure that both sides of my heart were painted black. It's not really necessary. You can choose not to do it. The other thing is I wanted it flippable so I could sort of have that movement so you could see what was happening. But if you wanted to, you know, journal and make sure it's really secret, you could just glue that down onto your page as well. So some people choose to glue their lace cuts down onto the page. Some people want to have it liftable so you can sort of pick it up and flick through it. To help pop it out from the background, I've just put a little bit of white around it with a little bit of doodling on it, just to sort of hold out from the background as well. And now you can see me drawing around to get the shape of the heart that I wanted to do. So I'm going in with some ruby paint straight onto my craft paper and painting it in as closely as possible. I didn't want, you know, too much going out and over the side. I wanted it all hidden by the black there. So I am actually taking some care as I'm painting this in to make sure that it all stays nice and neat. Also around the edges here, because I can sometimes get a little bit trigger happy when it comes to painting and paint over stuff I've already painted before. In retrospect, it probably would have been a good idea to paint the red first and then stencil the black over, but you know, it's naive. Why would I do anything the easy way? I'm going back in again, and you can sort of see what's happening now with that red sort of standing out from the background. So this is the main part of this video, because it's the trickiest part of this video that I wanted to show you. So when you're doing lace cuts, it is handy. Quite often I won't, but with something like this, I did actually draw out the lines of what I wanted to cut out beforehand with that quote. You could also use, you know, if you weren't trusting your own handwriting to do that, you could stamp it out and then cut out the letters afterwards, or you could stencil them out and cut out the letters. You know, use something that will help you to create those words on your page. So once I've done this, how I finished this off, you can see in the background, I journaled my guts out, and you know, all the secrets I had, I wrote in the background with my white pen. And then I've obviously got that black sitting over the top of it, so you can't read it. And I've written it in my really messy Asemic writing, so even I probably couldn't go back and read it again. When I finished, I really liked it, but I just needed something more. So I broke out all my face stencils that I had, and just with black paint, I stencil paints around it, faces around it, which really tied in with that quote that everyone has a secret to share. So I've got all these faces around there. So those secrets could be my secrets, they could be someone else's secrets, they could all blend together. To finish off the faces, you can see there I've just put a little bit of white in their eyes. So it's a really simple page in the end. It took a little while with the cutting out, but overall, for me, it was a really powerful way to control some stuff I wanted to get off the chest. I had my secrets in the background, but you couldn't really see them. They kind of belonged to everyone because you had all those faces in the background. So I hope you have a go at lace cutting. I highly recommend the craft journal for doing that because the paper is really strong, and check out the links below for any information you need. Until next time, bye for now.